Welcome once again, my friends, and thank you for stopping by to listen to an old storyteller. Today we have a German tale, and the title of this story is The Six Swans. Long ago, in a kingdom bordered by dense forests and quiet lakes, there lived a king who adored his 6 sons and his only daughter. The children were rarely seen at court, for the king feared enemies who might harm them. Instead, he kept them hidden deep within a forest castle, far from danger, where they grew up together in peace. The princess, the youngest, was especially dear to her brothers. They played together beneath the tall trees, laughed in the open fields, and shared a bond so strong that no shadow seemed able to touch it. But peace, in such tales, is seldom lasting. After many years, the king decided to remarry. Though he hoped for companionship, he did not fully know the heart of the woman he brought into his life. The new queen was beautiful, but her beauty concealed something darker. She was skilled in secret arts and possessed a jealous and fearful spirit. When she learned of the king's children hidden in the forest, her thoughts turned quickly to suspicion. What if they take his love from me, she wondered. What if they stand in my way? Driven by envy, she resolved to rid herself of them. One day she persuaded the king to reveal the path to the hidden castle. When he left for a journey, she followed that path alone, her heart set on her purpose. Meanwhile, the young princess had sensed something was wrong. She had heard whispers, seen signs, and her heart trembled with unease. She begged her brothers, "Stay close. I feel danger is near." But before they could act, the queen arrived. In her hand she carried 6 small white shirts, enchanted garments prepared with dark magic. One by one, she threw them over the princes. The moment each shirt touched them, the transformation began. Their forms shifted, their arms became wings, and their voices turned to cries of birds. In an instant, the 6 brothers were no longer human. They had become swans. With a rush of wind and feathers, they took flight and disappeared into the sky. The princess, hidden nearby, watched in horror. Her brothers gone, her home broken, her world changed. Yet she did not despair for long. Determined to find them, she fled into the forest, wandering for days until, at last, she came upon a lonely hut hidden among the trees. There, at sunset, she saw 6 swans descend from the sky. As they landed, their feathers fell away, and for a brief time they became human again. She ran to them, tears in her eyes. "My brothers!" They embraced her, overjoyed to see her alive. They told her the truth of their curse. "Each day we must live as swans," they said. "Only for a short time at night can we return to our human forms." "But there is a way to save us," one added. The princess listened closely. "For 6 years," they explained, "you must not speak a single word, not to anyone. During that time, you must sew 6 shirts from star flowers. If you complete them in silence, the spell will be broken." The princess did not hesitate. "I will do it," she said. From that moment her trial began. She left her brother's shelter and went deeper into the forest, gathering the delicate star flowers needed for the shirts. With careful hands she began to sew. Days passed into months, and months into years. She spoke to no one. One day, while she sat high in the tree, working in silence, she was discovered by a king who was hunting nearby. He was struck by her beauty, but also by her stillness. "Who are you?" he asked. She did not answer. "Are you lost? Are you in danger?" Still, she remained silent. Though puzzled, the king felt a deep compassion for her. He brought her to his castle, where she was cared for and given a place among his people. In time he grew to love her. Despite her silence, her kindness and grace spoke for her. He asked her to marry him. Unable to explain, she simply bowed her head. And so she became queen, still without speaking a single word. But not everyone welcomed her. The king's mother watched her with suspicion. "A queen who will not speak?" she muttered. "There's something unnatural about her." Her distrust soon turned to cruelty. When the queen bore her first child, the old woman took the baby away and hid it. Then she placed false evidence to make it seem as though the silent queen had done something terrible. The king was troubled, but he loved his wife and refused to believe the worst. Still, the whispers grew louder. When a second child was born, the same thing happened, and then a third. Each time the queen endured in silence. She could not defend herself. She could not explain. She could only continue her work, sewing, always sewing. At last the 6 years drew to an end. The final shirt was nearly complete, but the kingdom had turned against her. Accused of terrible crimes she could not deny, she was sentenced to death. On the day of her execution, she was led to the place of judgment, her unfinished shirts held tightly in her hands. The fire was prepared. The people watched in silence. And still she said nothing. But then a sound filled the air, the beating of wings. 6 swans descended from the sky. The princess's eyes lifted, filled with hope. At that very moment she cast the 6 shirts over the swans. One by one they transformed back into her brothers. Only one remained partly winged, and arms still feathered, for the last shirt had not been fully completed. At last the princess spoke. For the first time in 6 years her voice rang clear. She told the truth of the curse, of her silence, of the sacrifice she had endured. The truth could no longer be denied. The king, struck with grief and relief, realized the injustice done to her. The wicked plot was revealed, and those responsible were punished. The princess and her brothers were reunited. The spell was broken, and the long silence, filled with endurance and love, had brought justice at last. Experienced legends where mountains breathe magic and heroes face moral choices that shape destiny.
Thank you once again for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please press that like button. Also, please help an old storyteller out by subscribing to my channel. The next story will be posted in a few days, so until then, may your story continue to be a good one.